Welcome to episode 10 of the Unfortunate Diehards podcast, hashtag Tom Pyatt. Uh, we are here talking about our unfortunate teams yet again, some currently less fortunate and more fortunate than others. I'm Evan, I'm a Sens fan. Boys, introduce yourselves again.
Omar, Leafs fan.
Sufyan, Caps fan.
All right, so we're going to talk about our team so far. I'll start. Sens are lovely.
The record.
So they started off slow, but in those first two games, they had the largest gap in expected goals for, and then compared to their goals scored. And then now they have three of the top 10 analytical forward lines. They have won four straight games in a row at home where they've scored an average of, I think, like 5.25 goals per game. As a Sens fan who has not been, they haven't won four home games in a row since 2005. So, like, for me, this is I'm a happy boy, and yeah, I'm just, like, even like people are stepping up. Brady Chuck has 10 points in 6 games. Sussel's point per game. DeBrincat's point per game. Batherson's 9 points in 6 games. Like, and even though like DeBrincat isn't scoring right now, like he's still creating a lot. And Jake Sanderson, like I said, stepped in and is playing really well. Shane Pinto's on a 5-game goal streak. Yeah, I'm just a happy boy, and I don't have much to say, honestly. I'm just soaking it all in right now.
4-2?
They are 4-2, yeah.
Okay.
They've won all four of their home games.
Yeah.
And they got a fifth one coming up this Thursday, which they could make
Where
it
they
five
play?
in a row. They're playing Minnesota, right? Is it Minnesota? Yeah.
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 No, Minnesota will clamp up.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't have much, honestly. Like, I feel like I should have more, but like
No, it's just
I'm just literally happy, and that's it. That's all I can say right now.
you know how Sens fans are very fond of analytics when it's for them. Last year, the
Only
analytics
reason I
hated
said
them.
that, the only reason I said that is because you show me stuff all the time.
No, no. I'm sorry, you're different. You actually have uh a sensible
Okay,
brain.
let's not just all Sens fan on this podcast.
Oh, I have zero problem doing that. Every Sens fan except Evan and the other people that I know that are Sens fans that I like.
All right.
Well, should we? Well, I also beat the Washington Capitals at
Yeah,
home.
I'm gonna talk about that.
But
I
yeah,
have a lot to
so
say about that
you
game.
wanna transition to that game or your team? Go ahead.
Okay, I'll do it. Yeah. I went to that game actually. It was the worst game of my entire life. I got there 5 minutes late. Second I get there, Cap scored 2 goals. I'm like, wow, this is the best game ever. We like pretty well dominated the first period from what I saw till the end of the period, and then I may as well have not watched the game because it was basically our it was basically one team playing against a goalie for like the rest of the game. I think the shots were like ridiculous. I think after the first, it was like pretty close in shots, and the rest of the game, the Caps got like 3 shots, and Ottawa ended up with like 40 or something, and then we had like 20 or whatever. It was just a horrible game. Which obviously it isn't just the Caps were bad. The Ottawa played well as well, and it's pretty evident considering how they've been in their other games since that time. But um, the other 2 games actually were really good. So now we have an above 500 record. We've won 3 of our last 4 games. Things are looking more up. We also didn't have Kuznetsov versus Ottawa, but he hasn't been great this year. But still, it would have at least helped a little bit. But against LA, we decided to not play the first 40 minutes, and then we played the last 20 minutes. So it was a complete opposite of the Ottawa game. But then versus New Jersey, we got outshot as bad as we did in the Ottawa game, and yet we won 6-3. So, it's as roller coaster of a Cap season as I'm pretty much accustomed to at this point. So we'll coast to 100 points. Tom Wilson will be back in a month and a half or so. And yeah, things aren't looking up or down. It kind of just is.
I mean, speaking of teams scoring a lot of goals, Matthews isn't. So Omar, do you want to talk about your team now?
Connor Sherry has more goals than Austin Matthews.
Team Pinto has 5 times as many goals as Austin
Nick
Matthews.
Dowd has
That's
three
not
times as many goals as Austin Matthews.
last year at the exact same point. Matthews
Oh my
had the exact
goodness.
same stat. I'm just saying.
You are a prototypical Twitter's Leafs fan.
No, I'm just saying. Last year through 6 games, Matthews had 1 goal. This year through 6 games, Matthews has 1 goal.
It's 7 now, but
And we know how last year ended. So I'm not okay. I mean, the Matthews having 1 goal is like it's not a concern by any means. Like no one's no. There's not a Leaf fan sitting there in the world right now. Like, oh my god, what's Matthews just lost it or something? Like that's just.
I mean, realistically, there probably is.
What?
It's Leafs fans, bro. Everything's the end of the world.
I mean, yeah, sure. There's some Leafs fans who might be a bit harsh on him right now. But no, this is all. That's one thing I'm actually not even a little bit worried about. Like he's gonna pot one in at some point, just like DeBrincat, he's due for one. He took
some point at game 25.
he's he's gonna. Hey, Evan, we both have one on our team not scoring right now, so I wouldn't too much.
My team scoring and winning.
Huh?
At least the rest of my team's scoring and winning.
Hey, we're still winning.
What's the? I don't even know what's the record.
We are 6-3.
You played 9
Played
games.
9.
Oh, what am I
Played
saying?
7 games.
We are 5-3, right? 5-3.
Okay, yeah. Like, there isn't that much difference between our teams.
Isn't Tavares out now?
No, 5-3, 4-3. I think we're 4-3 now. Or every 5 and
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, whatever. It's like something like that. Anyway, my concern is not with the players. My concern is not with Matthews. It's not with Marner. Because we know what those guys can do. We know they're going to do it at some point. My concern right now is that I don't know if it's just me or if the defense has gotten significantly worse. Because I'm worried about the defense right now. And as a Leafs fan, yeah, I can say we've been worried about defense for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever you want to say. But I mean, like, really, especially after watching last night's game, I was like, what the hell is going on? Last night, every period, literally every period, and the commentators were talking about it too. Every single period within the first 5 seconds, they gave up a grade A scoring chance, 2-on-1 or a breakaway in the first 5 seconds of the period, right off the face-off. How does that happen in every single period going in? And just
baby.
Sorry?
The Leafs hockey, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not even like just defenseman as a concern there. Then it's like team defense as a whole.
Team defense as a whole, yes. But I mean, just defensively as well, Victor Mete, I'm not a huge fan of right now. I didn't like his game last night at all. I don't like Justin Holl's game. I know he brings his penalty killing, blah blah blah. I just don't like his game.
Many people do.
I'm not liking Riley's defensive game at all.
Not many people do.
I'm okay with Giordano just because I take his age into consideration before I say anything about him. So I'm okay with Giordano. And for the contract he's on, I'm not going to complain about Giordano. I don't really care. And I'm okay with Sandin. But I'm just not happy with the decor right now. So I don't know. They're not looking like a unit back there. They're not looking like they have things in control in their zone. And that's what my concern is right now. And I don't know if, and again, we're 7 games in. I don't know if that's, maybe that's a little work in progress that's going to come. But I mean, the team's mostly, the defensive core, apart from like Mete coming in, Riley, Hall, Sandin, Muzzin if he's not injured, even Giordano. Yeah, but even Giordano, these guys, they've been playing together for a little while now. So they're not, it shouldn't be some new, we're trying to get used to each other or something like that. No, it shouldn't be like that. So I'm concerned about the defense. Yeah, it's just we have a couple of games where we'll play decent hockey and win, and it's like, okay, like maybe we'll continue this, and then we play a game like last night against Vegas, which was, score wise it was close enough, but in terms of the play, we weren't there for a lot of the game, and that's concerning.
The issue is also, like last year, they may have had similar defensive blemishes. It was just they were scoring like a ridiculous amount of goals, and that goal scoring just hasn't been as like high octane just yet. So maybe, but I don't know. I understand
4 goals a game, whatever.
Yeah, well, like the thing is, like I don't see their defensive game improving like crazy right now. I don't think that really.
No, yeah.
But I don't think they're even like built for that necessarily.
That's
They
what I,
probably
that's what I
need-
mean, because I mean,
Yeah.
their defensive core is what it's been.
Mhm.
It's not like there's been huge changes back to that need to build some chemistry or something. No, it's like it is what it is. So I'm not, it's just is it just all the players just early season rusty? They're just rusty early season, or is it just this is what it is? So we'll see how that comes along. But yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, once Matthews gets going, that line's gonna be like that line's dominating already. They're just not putting up the points because Matthews isn't potting them in just yet. But once he gets his goal scoring back on track, like once he gets, or not even back on track, once another one goes in and he like starts getting going again, that line's gonna produce like it does. Tavares and Nylander line is so good right now. I love it. So we're gonna score goals.
Didn't Kyle Clifford play last night?
Tavares last night took a shot off his knee, could barely walk after.
Who?
Tavares.
Oh,
Tavares took a shot off his knee at the game.
Yeah, did you not watch the game? You just said you watched the game. Okay, I was watching the game. And
Yeah.
Tavares ending shots from the point hit Tavares on like the outside of his knee. Had
No,
to get
in the third period.
yeah.
Yeah, after Vegas went up 2-1, I turned the game off.
Well, I watched the game and Tavares really got hurt and literally could not put any weight on his left or which like
he came back last night. He's fine.
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah. He came back and they don't play till Thursday, so he's got 3 days to rest.
Wow, it looked awful. Okay, it looked awful. It got helped off. Like it looked really bad.
The Toronto Sun's headline is John Tavares came back, the Maple Leafs did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fine.
It is kind of a weird situation right now. Like obviously this can change a lot, but like the Sens are playing pretty good defensively, scoring lots of goals, and that's usually what your teams are good at, or at least
my
score
team
goals.
is not that good defensively, unfortunately.
No, I know you've had times where like you're like I remember times where Washington was like had some of the best goal differentials in the league in the past like 5-6 years.
Yeah, we got +1, no? Nice.
But you know, this is nothing out of the blue for the beginning of the season. For beginning of a season, there's nothing out of the blue for
the last 2 years. We went like a combined like 5-30 in our first like
yeah, but your team was
each, 3
significantly
months.
worse. Your team's gone a bit better. And there's an excitement around your team that's
I mean,
you know,
the defense is also not insane right now.
yeah, the
It's
defense.
like
I mean, the Sens defense, like we were at the game last night, and the defense I didn't think was anything.
Improved so much. Like Branstrom and Sanderson are the biggest improvements, and it's like so evident. Like Sanderson, it's like effortless everything he does, and then not Baston, Branstrom, like puck on his stick. This guy has so much confidence now. He never played with confidence, and he's playing to his strengths. He's like skating. He's avoiding checks a lot with like his little dekes and stuff. He's like, I'm not gonna say Samuel Girard, but he's like coming into something similar, like using his like skating, like fast twitch muscles to like get away from people, and it's very impressive, especially compared to the last couple of years.
Okay, so I don't. All right, so I don't think we can go. I don't think we can talk about the first 2 weeks of the season without talking right now about the Vancouver Canucks.
Wait, can I say something though?
Yeah.
You know who has the second best goal differential in the league right now?
Who?
Buffalo Sabres.
I knew it was going to be some.
Ottawa?
No. Buffalo has 22 goals for and 11 total goals against in 5 games. That is insane.
You want to know why?
Ottawa has 3 against.
Brett Anderson.
The guy can still play.
It wasn't even Anderson, bro. Like Anderson,
the guy can still play.
Anderson's only played 2 games. Eric Comrie's been absolutely insane.
I know. Yeah. I know. I just love
it. So yeah, let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks, because that is I don't know about you, but I'm quite shocked at the Vancouver Canucks right now.
Bruce,
yeah,
it's the issue in Vancouver right now.
Everything.
What is
bro, it's that looks horrible. I mean,
it's just a horrific start. It's like a nightmare start for for Vancouver.
They're
For Bruce
just-
Boudreau,
Every facet of the game is just bad right now. And Boudreau's supposed to be an offensive coach. I get that, but they have like the most goals against in the NHL right now.
that was but the excitement around them was like, hey, you know what? They're gonna be this high octane scoring team. Like Bruce Boudreau's gonna put on
Well,
all offense.
it was because
like,
the end of last year when he
because
came.
yeah, exactly, because of the way they ended the season.
Yeah,
But they've just come out and
flat.
oh, it's just terrible. And this is like I know we were talking in last week's episode about how we don't October is not a month where we look into things really deeply or where people really or where we should like read into things that much just because a lot of good teams or a lot of teams generally leave points on the table, have rusty starts, whatever it may be. But like we're talking about here a start that like this is a start that hurts you later on in the season.
It's hard to come back.
It's hard to come back from a start this bad. When you're leaving this many points on the table and you're 0-7 to start the season or whatever it is. So what like I'm not saying that any of us thought Vancouver is going to make the playoffs or anything, but what are we thinking about Vancouver right now after 7 games? Are we thinking that this is going to be like there's going to be a turnaround there, or what's going on?
I'm just trying to figure out what is any sort of positive thing for them. Just even looking at advanced stats and literally everything is just bad.
I mean, I'll comment that like it is like a team that has a lot of exciting players, I guess. Like you can be excited about JT Miller, Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, people who are very offensively gifted, Bo Horvat, Kuzmenko, Thatcher Demko, like people who almost every NHL team would like absolutely trade for in a heartbeat. But, this is also a team where it just doesn't seem to like, what could I compare it to? Like, it's just a team that doesn't like Winnipeg almost last year. Like they don't seem to like mesh well together. Like they have players who can individually play hockey well, but it just seems like, I don't know if it's like the morale or like the play just isn't like it looks like they're a bunch of new players thrown together, but a lot of these guys have played years together. I don't know exactly if I can't say there's one thing wrong with it because everything seems to be going wrong for the Canucks, but it's definitely more surprising. Like if they were a reversed record, I think they're 0-5-2 right now. If they were like 5-2-0, it wouldn't have surprised me. I think it would have surprised me less than if it was 0-5-2. Especially with like the offensive weapons, like you think they would be able to outscore someone one game, or Demko would save a game or something. But yeah, it is kind of bizarre because I can't put my finger on like just the one thing that's wrong with them. It's like everything's going wrong. It's not like they're losing games 2-1 or they're blowing multi-goal leads. It seems like every game, or they're losing because they're like last night against Carolina, they got like double outshot. Like they just aren't showing up. So I don't know what to say exactly, but like this has to change quick.
Do we think coaching is an issue right now?
Coaching?
Do we think?
I guess it's personnel, personally, from like players and stuff. Like I think they need to make some sort of big trade. Be like, hey guys, like this is not like we're not messing around. Like if you're not doing what we expect you to, like we will trade you for other assets.
For me, I've been coaching it to an extent, I guess, but like it's hard to blame coaching when every player is just playing horrible. But for me to single out a player that can actually get traded that has like a tradable contract, it would have to be like Brock Besser, because I think he's had a lot of he has the potential to be a 30-35 goal scorer because of his shot, but he's like one of the worst players in the league in actually getting to the point where he can actually get those shots off. And when he gets there, he just doesn't shoot. Like I've never seen someone with that good of a shot just decide not to shoot as much as he does.
Oh, like me in ball hockey?
Oh, actually, I have a comment about that, by the way. Yesterday, Ovechkin had a 2-on-1 and like he like turned it over. It was a sick play. Everything was amazing. And then because he like missed on like 3 attempts before that, I guess, where he like hit the goalie's mask or he hit the post or whatever, he decided to pass it on the 2-on-1. And I was like, that's 7 right there.
Wait, what?
He was on a 2-on-1.
I
He passed it
when
wide open 2-on-1.
with who? Like this past game?
No, against the Devils last
I
night.
played the Devils.
No. I'm saying like it felt like when I tell you to shoot and you don't shoot sometimes. It was like one of those things.
Oh, okay.
Just
I
continue
was
your thought about what you were saying. This is
What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Brock Besser.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He like, and you can easily trade his contract, like, and he's like young enough. And I think that there's probably players lower in the Vancouver's lineup that I honestly think would mesh better in the top six than he would. Because he's kind of just like, we've been watching the Washington game. Everything flow wise kind of just stops when he gets the puck. Because he's not that great of a passer, but he doesn't like shooting as much as he should for a guy with that good of a shot.
Imagine him with like a great setup guy. I'm not saying necessarily like McDavid, like obviously that'd be good, but like someone like a Teravainen or something, like someone who's just like
Well, I think Pedersen and T. Miller are great setup guys. That's not the problem with him though.
shit right now. We need someone who's good.
No, but that's the thing. Even those guys were playing amazing last year, and he still didn't get as many points and goals as he probably should have. Like, even if you put him with the passer, he just refuses to shoot as much as he should, or get into places where he can do that. Like, I don't know, maybe it's a coaching thing with him, where they didn't teach him properly where to go. But I don't think adding a playmaker in that sequence would necessarily make him a better scorer.
No, I'm saying if he had a different, like if he were to get traded, like I could see him going somewhere with like
Oh
a
yeah.
different elite passer
But
or
again, then he just has to actually shoot. That's
no,
the
I know, but okay, my example would be like he's still young enough, like Zibanejad in Ottawa. He has a great shot, and you guys can agree with that. But he'd never shot in Ottawa. It was like they were telling him to shoot all the time. It was like Spezza as well when he was younger. They told him to shoot more because they both had good shots, and he just didn't do it. And then in the Rangers, like the first year, I don't think he scored like a ton of goals. But then like over time, like he really like started picking up. Like okay, I can shoot and score way more than I thought, and now he's like a 40 goal scorer because of it. So I'm not saying Brock Besser and Zibanejad are the same, but at some point you'd hope that you take a risk on a guy in a trade for a different team and it could pan out to being like you said, a 35 goal scorer.
But that's what you're just hoping happens when you trade him. Like that's why he's got.
But that's why a team would
That's
trade.
but that's why he's got like enough value to trade. Like
Yeah.
the potential
I
is
also
there.
think in Vancouver he might not shoot as much as he thinks because he feels
He has
like
other really good players to give the puck to.
But that's all. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like because Miller and Pedersen both have great shots, but they're also like they both shoot a decent amount, and they both also find Besser a lot. So I don't know why it doesn't result in more goals for Besser if he has that great of a shot. So I don't know.
I mean, I don't think yeah, I mean he Besser has like a shot of a potential 30-35 goal score, like you said. Like I don't think his shot
His
is
shot
amazing
is
or anything,
no,
though, right?
bro. His shot is amazing. Like
It's a good shot.
No. It like his shot is amazing. Like it's not like just like a really good shot. Like it has the potential to be like a top 10 shot kind of thing. Like
Okay.
he just doesn't shoot.
Isn't Elias Pettersson's shot better than his?
I wouldn't say so.
You wouldn't say so. Because I
I
don't
think the situation where you players that play together for a long time, it just really doesn't work. But like my example, I could have a couple of Sens examples. Like forever, they were trying to find a winger for Spezza. They were like, that's why they got Bobby Ryan. That's why, like I guess Milan McCulloch worked, but then they signed Clark MacArthur, and none of it was really working. And then at the deadline, I think they gave up like a third or a fifth or something. They got Alish Hemsky, who was like a meh top 9-ish winger at the time. And they were like point per game when playing together. Like it was ridiculous. Like you find these players that just understand or kind of like, or like a Bozak for Kessel and JVR. Like JVR and Kessel were easily, you could say, better offensive players, but he could definitely be someone where you find that person or other player that could kind of match up with him because he has that opportunity and like skill in that facet that you would hope if you were to move him, you could eventually find that perfect center for him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just who could that be if it isn't like
But that's the thing.
Patterson
Good
and
players
Phillips, right?
always work together. Like they were saying, oh, Stutzel with DeBrincat and Giroux. Like I even said, like, yeah, it could work or it couldn't work. And evidently it didn't start off that great. So they already switched up the lines because of it. And I mean,
I
look
mean,
at it.
it's also both those lines weren't working because Norris, Kachuk, and Batherson weren't playing that great together as well, like compared to what they were last year.
Yeah, but that's the point. Like not all good players are destined to play well together. So
I'll tell you what, if Besser ends up on like a team where he doesn't have elite players around him, then he might just be a name that kind of just fades into obscurity because he doesn't create enough on his own, but like at all.
like Ovechkin.
What?
Besser is kind of like a Kessel.
Yeah. Even Kessel had speed at one point, though.
Yeah.
And passing ability.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So the other day, us three were all hanging out together, and we actually had a pretty interesting conversation. So we talked about a couple of players who are playing now that it was kind of up in the air if they're Hall of Famers or not, or why we discussed why we would or wouldn't play in the Hall of Fame. And this is literally just a recorded conversation that we would have had regardless. So yeah, we're gonna play that now and hope you enjoy.
Good.
Is
Yes.
Phil Kessel a Hall
Yes.
of Famer?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes. Yes.
You think he is?
Oh, easily. There's players with much less on their pedigree that are in the Hall of Fame. That's the same.
But you could argue there's some with more not in.
I took Alfie so long.
I guess, but like the thing is, like, I don't know if that's you can grade on. If we're already saying that there's players that
Was he ever
should
the
be
best
in.
player on his winning teams though?
No,
like
never.
I mean, I don't even think that's a criteria at this point though, because like even in the 2 cup runs, he was their leading scorer, and he has 2 cups,
no,
He-
no
what I-
MVP, so.
and he was on the 3rd line.
What I will say about Kessel is he does perform in big situations.
Performs in big situations.
He was the
Consistency.
only one on the U.S. Olympic team that did shit.
Yeah.
It's just the 2014 U.S. Olympic team. He
Yeah.
was good. The team wasn't that great. He was good. And then he was left out of the 2018 one, and he made comments about that. I remember that was funny.
as he should have,
Yeah.
because that was like after his
Yeah.
best years,
Yeah, in
because
Pittsburgh.
that was his like
Yeah.
90-point years.
But
Yeah.
the thing with him that actually might stop him from Hall of Fame too is that people like the reason he was left out and stuff again. It's his personality. It's
I
him
guess.
it's him as in the locker room is what people don't like.
I guess, but
That's
like
why he was traded as soon as Babcock got
if
there.
you say someone like McGillney should be in the Hall of Fame, they kind of have similar numbers, and McGillney doesn't have any cups.
Would you say?
Yeah, but the cup shouldn't be used as in Kessel's favor.
I think they should if he was the leading scorer on both of those teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, sure, he was a leading scorer because the
And the-
defense was preoccupied with Crosby and Malkin.
They're on, but that doesn't matter though. Like you're still leading the team in scoring in a playoff run. Like that's still
No, it's good. I'm not
should
saying
be
it's-
taken into account.
I just don't think that's enough to say you're a Hall of Famer. His whole career should speak for something else. His
Which
whole
it has.
career- his whole
And
career-
Iron Man. Iron Man. He's about to
Exactly.
break it. the record.
Exactly.
The Iron Man record is one thing. Yes,
It
yes,
says a
obviously, yeah.
lot about him.
The
And,
Iron Man
like,
record is one thing.
And he had cancer.
Yes, he did.
I
have
also
cancer.
think like if you're comparing someone
I think we
like
should talk about this in the podcast.
we
We
will.
should talk about it.
I was gonna propose that to you guys, but like
Propose?
propose.
So let's not
And then,
discuss it right
'cause
now. Then
The other one
leave it
is
fresh.
the other one is Backstrom. For me, Backstrom
Nicholas Backstrom.
because for me, if Henrik Sedin is in the Hall of Fame, Backstrom was much better.
That's a big statement.
Is it though? Look at their numbers.
You're a Caps fan.
Look at their numbers. No, but seriously, like, look at their numbers. If he wasn't, then I would fully admit that he wasn't. But like,
yeah,
just look at
but
his numbers.
Backstrom has played with Ovechkin for
Okay,
so
but
long.
bro, like I think that yes, okay, like Ovechkin has scored a lot of goals and that has held Backstrom, but it could also be said the other way around. I think Ovechkin would have been a great player regardless, but I also think it's the same can be
I
said.
think
Okay,
Ovechkin has
how many
played that
goals
doesn't
does he
need
have?
Backstrom.
No, I know,
How
but
many goals do you have?
who?
Ovechkin.
72.
Okay. How many less goals do you think you'd have if you never played with Nicholas Backstrom?
I don't know, but like it's
How
the
many
other,
assists does Nicholas Backstrom have?
Oh, it's like 1,000 or something. dumb.
yeah.
Has he all? Backstrom
the-
has been a lifelong with Caps, right?
He's a lifelong Caps.
Well, he
They
was a
always have-
goalie.
They also haven't played together like their entire careers either. So I don't know. For me,
So Nicholas Backstrom assists he has 747.
that's nuts.
And how many goals does Ovechkin have?
782.
No.
So Ovechkin would be like a 30 goal scorer one time, and he's at the league. Look at him
Well,
right
yeah.
now; he's struggling.
You have to look at
Backstrom.
you have to look at how many. Well, bro, then Austin Matthews sucks too.
Yeah, he does.
Okay,
Shane
What about
Pinto
the-
has 4 goals.
Connor Sheary is better than both.
Okay,
Not Shane
Backstrom's
Pinto.
gonna end with 65 goals. We all know he had the same start last year.
Yeah.
He literally had the exact same start last year. Look at the stats from last year's first 10 games. Exact same. No, the 1 goal. He scored his first goal 4 games in, and even then he didn't score after that for a number of games more. He didn't have a good start to the season at all.
So, do you know Puck Empire on Instagram? So they have 117,000 followers, and this guy
Henrik
posted.
Sedin has 830 assists.
Oh, wrong. He's better.
How many points?
Total points is 1,070.
Okay, how many points does Backstrom have?
Total points for Backstrom is 1,011.
Oh,
Yeah, so he literally has to play 1 more year and he'll
wrong.
pass him.
Nope.
Like,
Okay, so this Puck Empire guy.
what about points per game?
Points per game.
That's not on DB.
Uh,
Okay,
it's
let me
not
say
on
this.
DB.
He posted and said, in his opinion, he thinks Eric Carlson is a 100% Hall of Famer.
If you believe that, you're cracked.
So his,
Sorry, Eric Carlson is the Hall of Famer. Why wouldn't he be?
so he
For
said,
what, 5 seasons?
so he said,
If Castle's a Hall of Famer, why can't Carlson be a Hall of Famer?
Because
no
Kessel's done
one
his whole
ever
career.
who's won multiple Norris trophies has not made it to the Hall of Fame. Then
By
they
the
were
way,
talking.
sorry, interrupt you. Backstrom has 0.95 point per game.
What
And
is
Sedin, let's see.
it's 9-6. We go nuts. So no multiple time Norris Trophy winner has not made it to the Hall of Fame. I think it's like I don't know about point per game difference, but it's like he has more assists.
0.80.
Oh,
0.5 difference, which
but if you didn't play with Ovechkin,
If you didn't play with Ovechkin, exactly.
Sedin didn't play with his brother.
yeah,
That's
but that's different though. He did
Not really. It's
he
not
was-
because Backstrom hasn't played with Ovechkin his entire career, whereas you could say very much the other way around.
I want to compare his stats to Daniel Sedin's stats.
Ovechkin.
No, Henrik
Oh.
Sedin's.
Henrik to Daniel?
Henrik to Daniel. Daniel has more points.
Yeah, he had a better career.
1,041
Because
and less assists.
the whole
but
thing
yeah.
was that the only reason that Henrik made it
So
was
why are you
because of
saying
Daniel.
Henrik over there? Like why are you saying? So
No,
would you say Backstrom's better than Daniel as well?
No, but that's the whole thing though. Like people are saying the only reason that Henrik made it at all is because of Daniel. They had to go in together. Because realistically, Daniel's numbers are more Hall of Fame than Henrik's by a significant margin.
I wouldn't say by a significant margin.
By a decent amount though. Like
No,
he's
no,
also
even.
he also has
They're off by 30 points
yeah.
in their career. They're off by 30 points. How is that significant?
And Henrik was captain.
Yeah, Henrik was. I don't mean.
No, I know,
I'm sure Henrik's
I'm-
better, but I'm
Henrik's
saying
better?
like no, not Henrik. Sorry, like if you're Henrik was captain, but like they're off by 30 points. You can't say. How do you say significant?
I don't know what I was looking at. Regardless,
The other side.
Backstrom should still be.
And Daniel played 1306 and he played like 30. So like they played similar games as well.
They played
They're both in the
1,300
1300s.
games.
Yeah.
How many games did Backstrom play?
Henrik played 13. I think Henrik played some more.
Was
but,
Backstrom's
yeah.
points per game 0.95 or point?
It was like 9-5 something.
And then Henrik was 0.95.
0.95. And Henrik is 0.8. Yep.
8-1 we'll round up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure.
No, 0.96.
So Eric Carlson is 100% a Hall of Famer.
What are his reasons?
Defenders with 2+ Norris trophies are Doug Harvey, Hall of Fame, Bobby Orr, Hall of Fame, Larry Robinson, Hall of Fame, Paul Coffey, Hall of Fame, Chris Chelios, Hall of Fame, Nicholas Edgerton, Hall of Fame, Pierre Pilote, Hall of Fame, Dennis Botman, Hall of Fame, Rod Langway, Hall of Fame, Ray Bork, Hall of Fame, Brian Leach, Hall of Fame, and Duncan Keith, who's ineligible right now. All-time defense
Oh,
point
yeah.
per game with 800+ games played. Eric Carlson is 10th. Eric Carlson played the entire 2017 playoffs with a fractured foot, an ankle, blah, blah. He had 18 points in 19 games and led a team that Zach Smith was the leading goal scorer to there. Carlson also has 4 all-star team placements, 6 all-star
Wait,
team
one second.
appearances
Pause for a second. Zach Smith was the leading goal scorer for the Sens in that run.
Goal scorer.
in the regular season.
Yeah.
25.
Zach Smith was the regular season highest
And
goal
they
scorer
got to the Eastern Conference Finals.
for the Sens.
Yeah.
Well, on a team with like Turris and Ryan and Ryan there's on a team with Turris and
It's pretty
Brassard.
concerning.
What?
I know. He had like
Wow.
25 goals and like 12
Is
assists.
Hoffman injured?
That might be
this year?
exactly right.
Is Hoffman injured?
No, they like never got, they like barely got high 20s in the sense. Everyone had like 20 something
Well, no, Hoffman had like a 29 year, didn't he?
on Ottawa.
Yeah,
No,
or 27.
maybe like 27. 2010's all decade second team, 2017 or 2014 Olympic silver, 2014 Olympic best defenseman. And then Hall of Famers that are worse than Eric Carlson are. I thought it said Kevin Love. I was like, what? Kevin
Oh,
Lowe,
we're
Guy
doing the
Carbonneau, Scott
worst.
Stevens, Keela Point, Bill
Scott
Barber,
Stevens,
and
my ass.
Doug Wilson.
Scott Stevens is not worse.
So
than
Eric Carlson belongs in the Hall of Fame.
You agree?
Scott Stevens is not worse than Carlson.
People who disagree are casuals and only watched hockey for the past few years. Recency bias. He was
Oh, is this guy
elite.
I think
Instagram?
Carlson at his best is Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he be in the Hall of Fame?
How big is the sample size?
His whole Sens career, which was how long? 8 years.
He's played over 800 games.
Yeah.
Okay, and like 600 of those were good. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
He'll make it. I
He
think
has
he'll make it.
666 points in 846 games.
Okay.
That's, as a defenseman,
That's sick.
insane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his past few years have been awful. So in Ottawa, it was
Wait, that's what I'm saying. Like that
Yeah,
is
but
like.
that's the
well,
last
not
few.
But
even.
so you're saying that your whole career doesn't matter in the Hall of
No,
Fame?
but
Your
if you think about
peaks
it,
matter more.
San Jose hasn't even been
Peaks
that
matter
bad
more.
for points. He's had
Interesting.
45 and 53, 40 and 56, 22 and 52. They had 35 and 50, and then this season he is 6 and 8.
Are we also only grading him on his offensive play
Well, yeah, that's what you do for a bunch of Hall of Famers.
for just Carlson? Because if
He's had the seasons
are
where
telling
he
me-
was a really good all-around defenseman as well.
no,
Yeah,
He has never-
this is opinion
he has never had a good defensive season
ever.
ever.
Jay Fresh, bring it up.
Yeah, I don't think you want me to. I'll be
Find
honest.
a season.
That he's had above like 50%.
I bet you find one. Then Ottawa, he had 26 and 60, 45 and 75, 78 and 81, 14 and 17, 74 and 82, 66 and 82, 82 and 82. That's the team that was
Yeah.
the one on the run. 71 and 77, 62 and 71. That's
See, here's what-
ridiculous.
Eric Carlson's larger sample size in his career has him being amazing.
And then in the playoffs,
Okay.
he has 53 points in 67 games as a defenseman.
Yeah, sick.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Then World Juniors,
No,
he had 9 points in 6 games. He had 2 Norrises. He got a vote for the Conn Smythe winner when they didn't even make the finals. That's how good he is. And he's rich
And he's rich.
and pretty.
What was his best year?
Points?
Yeah.
Oh, his points here, I don't think was his best defensive year.
Yeah, but just tell
I think
me.
it was
I'm just
the-
trying to get to that range.
I'll tell you the Norris Trophy ones. 2011, 2012 is when he won one.
12% defense,
2014, 2015.
28.
Okay, we'll go through every year he played.
Okay, wait, actually, this
2009 to now. I bet he finds him. He won't show me.
2009.
Is when he started. 9-10.
But that's not going to be, you can't use that.
Yeah, 2009 also doesn't have any data on it.
Because, yeah, even if it did, you can't use that because that's his
Oh,
first year.
2010, 47.
Oh.
2011, 12. 2013, 43.
Oh, we're getting close.
Wait, that was 2013. 2014 is 28. 2015 is 11. I'm guessing that was the 82-point year.
11-12 is 42 points.
Well, no, this is 2015.
Oh, 14-15 is 66. 15-16 is 82 and 82.
Oh, okay, yeah, 1% defense.
100% offense.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was a forward. 5% 2017. 16% 2018. Now we're in San Jose. 34% 2019.
Yeah, 47% is close enough.
47.
Whatever that 47% year was.
That was in 2010.
So you're essentially saying he's
That
not
was-
a Hall
that
of
was the
Famer
second
because Jay Fresh was like.
I didn't even make the Jay Fresh argument. I wasn't bringing up analytics.
No, I know. I was just trying to find one that
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
know.
he could probably have gotten a 50
'Cause,
one time.
but I
But
think-
look how many 100% are in the high 90s
I
did he have
ju-
for offense
but-
every
yeah,
single
yeah,
year?
No, if his career continued the same as it was in Ottawa, and I am faulting him for injury because obviously it isn't like I'm not faulting him for it. I'm
Fault Matt
saying
Cook for it.
no. I'm saying like it definitely hurts him that he got injured, and if he didn't get injured, then he probably would have easily been a Hall of Famer. Well, he would have easily been a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
For
I
me-
think I
for-
think
for
for that
me-
reason itself, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
For
Okay.
me, the rest of his career is important too. It's not just
He's 32.
what it is now.
In San Jose, he's had on pace for like 60 plus points multiple times.
If he continues
If
for
he for the next like even if he plays like 50, if he has full seasons, awesome. If he doesn't, we'll see. But let's say he does play like the next 3 seasons and gets like 50 to like 65 points in
If-
each of those.
if he does
And he gets to what would that be? 700, 800 points.
if he does for the next like 2 years, gets like 55 plus, and it's like I can't even say anything about his defense because at that point it doesn't really matter. Because without, if we're just not taking defense into consideration at all,
But
then
you
he's
could do
not
that for a
Hall of Famer.
forward too. I'm sure there are
No,
tons
no,
of
no,
guys.
no. But that's what for a defenseman is different because he's a defenseman.
But you're also, but there, Guy Carbonneau.
He's only in there for defense.
Exactly. So you can have guys in there only for offense too.
Fair enough, but like I think there's a lot of people that wouldn't consider Guy Carbonneau a Hall of Famer.
No, I know, but he's
So-
for some fucking
But that's
reason he's there.
that's also why it's hard to like actually argue these things because
The Hall of Fame,
the Hall of Fame is like so weird.
the Hall of Fame is not right in my opinion.
So you
It
think
isn't.
he's
It's very
a potential?
inconsistent.
yeah,
Well, I think if he gets like 2 60-point seasons at all in the next 4 years, he's in for sure.
So you're saying 120 points separate him from?
Sure. I don't think if he retired right now, he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, that's not my question.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I just need to see I just need to see him at least finish his career off in a decent way to become a Hall of Famer. Because for me, longevity plays a decent amount into this.
So
That's why for me,
Who-
someone like Phil Kessel is a Hall of Famer.
who do you think was better,
like I don't, in my opinion, Phil Kessel. is a
John
Hall
or
of Famer.
Eric?
Eric.
John or Eric? Who?
Yeah,
Carlson.
Eric.
Oh, Carlson.
John Carlson.
If you said John, I was
For me,
gonna
John
leave.
Carlson is more of an Ovechkin merchant than Backstrom.
Eric Carlson create like my whole point was if he because at that time the Blackhawks were still really good. They'd like Sharp, Hossa, Kane, Taves. My point was if you put Eric Carlson then on that team, he's a 100-point season.
That's not a given. You know why that's not a given? I think one thing that people you fail to understand is that
People like me
Yes.
to fail to
Yeah.
understand.
the offense also has to be spread out. Like it's not just because he's on that team, people are going to be taking away points from him on that team as well.
Are you saying that if he
That's like
if
saying
he was if he you're saying on the Sens that season, that's where he would have had the most points unless he other than if he was on a
it does show that like especially for defensemen, if they have to create more offense because their forward court isn't as good, they're going to have more points. That's just the way it is. It's the same thing with Burns in San Jose at one point. It was the same with
they still had good forwards there.
yeah, but it's Yossi is the biggest example last year. Who else was?
They had
I
multiple
understand,
like
but
40 goal
but
scorers.
He's the one that was creating all the offense on that team. Those forward lines had down years like 4 or 5 years in a row.
You don't think they were gelling better? Because they
I don't know. They
brought in
did.
someone every single year for their top
Well, no,
six.
like maybe Duchesne, but like Forsberg and Johansson haven't had those big years until Yossi started taking a big step offensively, and Yossi's defense also suffered because of that, which is why there were so many arguments against him when he was Norris last.
So could you not argue Carlson did that for those other people and he could have done that with maybe even better players on another team and gotten more points?
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm also saying like when you're on a better team, it is harder for more people to score a ton of points. Like it's hard. That's what I'm saying. Like for me, yes, maybe he would have had like
Okay, if you put him on the Capitals, a team that wasn't dominant but had like 3 or 4 guys always on offense that were sick. You put Eric Carlson there, you don't think he'd have more points?
than like if he had on like during
Than
his
on the
82
Sens.
during his 82 point year. I don't think so. No,
I think
I don't think
if Eric Carlson, I don't know, Chicago was an example, but if he was on another team with some more gifted players, he could have had 100 points.
Imagine him
He had the
on-
potential to
imagine
have
him-
100
But
points.
you-
season.
when
Imagine
you're-
him in his prime on the Leafs team right now.
you're imagining that stuff, but you're also not realizing that like he has to be the one creating offense all the time on that team, which is
what he
more
did
points.
best.
Honestly,
if you're on a Leafs team that has a bunch of offensive point producers, he doesn't have to do as much of the skating around everywhere and creating for everyone.
bro,
and
if on
giving
this
people
team
absence and
Morgan
stuff.
Riley can approach 80 points, this guy can get 100 points.
It's such a like a hearsay thing for defensemen because it's one thing for forwards to like saying that this forward can have that many points on another line, but it's hard for defensemen because they have so many other responsibilities.
No, I'm saying
So
Morgan
for-
Riley.
I
Well,
understand
apparently
that.
he didn't.
For Carlson now, like on those teams, his sole purpose was get us goals. In Toronto, he would not have to do that. In Toronto, it'd be like get the puck up to Marner and Matthews and let them do their things, and it would result in more secondary points, maybe, but he wouldn't have to be as much of a primary contributor, and he would still reach like 80 points easily. But I don't think that results in a 100-point season.
Okay,
But that's like
you-
saying but your argument is wrong just on the sense that look at what Makar is doing on a team where he has lots of crazy offense.
But difference with Makar is he's the one that's creating offense on that team more than like
Eric Carlson will be creating offense as well.
in a significant way compared to like so for Makar, he is the second best offensive player on that team just all around. So
Okay.
he's the one that's creating the offense on that team. I don't think that's where the difference between Makar and Carlson comes from me is because I think that Makar is not way better is a better offensive creator than Carlson was, and I think that's why
Makar's a better goal scorer than Carlson was.
I'd agree.
in terms of making plays.
Instead of making plays, Carlson.
I don't know.
I don't think you can say. You can't say. I'm not saying that one of the. I'm not. I don't think you can definitively say Makar is a better playmaker than Carlson. You can say
in
he's a
the
better
one
goal scorer.
single year last year, he created more players for.
He had
plays for
McKinnon
anyone.
and Rantanen and Kadri.
Yeah,
and
but
Landeskog
he was the
on
one
his
creating
team.
plays,
Rantanen.
especially not Kadri.
He had guys finishing everything he was doing, man. He didn't have that in Ottawa. Carlson didn't have that in Ottawa. He had
Not
guys
even
not even
close.
scoring 20 goals, man.
I
Highest
understand
Zach Smith
that.
scored 25, and that was the highest. Like, come
How
on.
many of those were assisted by Carlson?
A lot.
Probably.
I'm not even joking. I
He scored-
specifically
He scored
remember.
25. We were at 26 were assisted by Carlson.
Yeah, somehow.
No, I don't doubt that, and I get what you're saying. It's just for me, like I think Yossi is a closer example. Like Yossi season last year is more of an example for Carlson's like 82.
I'm just saying it's not hard to fathom that if on a team where Morgan Riley got 72 points in 82 games one year with Matthews and Munro in them, that Carlson wouldn't come and get at least 90 points on that team, if not getting close, approach 100. When Carlson was in his prime. If he can get 82 points on that Sens team, imagine what he does when he's on a power play with Matthews and Munro, or when he's on the ice in general.
But
With
that's the
any of
thing.
them.
My whole thing is where it's hard for me to think of it like that is because I don't know if he would have had to, or if he would have tried to attempt the same things on.
Well, look at him.
Toronto's
He
team.
never doesn't
was
attempt those things.
no, but he always attempts those things. And his biggest attempts were always playmaking attempts. Like he would make the room and make those crazy passes to Matthews, to Marner. Like he would be with them.
Sure.
Did he just convince you?
No, I was already convinced like 5 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh.
No,
And you use the line
but I don't-
people like you to me. Oh, I was like, what?
I still stand by that though.
People like me? Explain that.
But what is the people
Hardcore
like me?
Carlson stands.
Oh.
Yeah,
Now you're
that's
calling
all it
me
was.
dumb at hockey.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. You know, Carlson and Kessel, I feel like they're both definitely interesting topics regarding the Hall of Fame, just because I think they have been either so consistent or so inconsistent, but have had elite careers regardless, I think. So, yeah, I thought it was a good conversation. And yeah, so we'll move on to the head-to-head right now. So this week I thought I'd change it up a little bit. I thought I would pick two of the biggest NHL players who don't necessarily impact the game all the time on the score sheet. So would you rather have Ryan Reeves or Matt Martin on your team? Because I would say neither of them are very good offensively whatsoever. But both of them are absolute units, and they can protect anyone on your team. And I mean, they're useful enough that they both play for teams that have skill players on them. And, I feel like it's an interesting topic. I feel like Ryan Reeves is kind of the bigger name now that Matt Martin is Toronto. And now that Ryan Reeves is in New York, so it's a bigger team. But I think very similar players. And so I'll throw this.
Is Matt Martin actually playing?
Yeah, he's playing this year.
Yeah. So I'll throw this to Omar. And, you have a history with Matt Martin. So I'll see which way you go.
Technically, so do I, actually.
Yeah, this is a tough. I mean, Matt Martin's played for my team for a couple of years, so I just don't know how to choose between these two players. I mean, I've had Matt Martin on my team. I liked him when he was there for what he did. I don't really know. It's tough for me because I don't know between the two what difference they bring. What are the differences between the two?
Swag.
Apart from a swag, what are the what are like my I guess before I even pick someone, I want to ask what are the differences between these two players? Would you guys say in terms of what they bring to the
Don't
team?
ask that question.
No.
Oh,
Because
well,
I'll
I
say
wasn't.
I'll say Matt Martin just because whatever he was on Toronto, but and I like what he brought, but I don't know how to choose. I honestly don't know how to choose between Matt Martin and Ryan Reeves.
I thought we were going third liners, man. You brought it steep down a rock.
I went very specific.
Yeah, because they're not realistically, they're not very good hockey players in general. They're very good intimidation factors. Although Matt Martin this year, 0.5 points a game.
Ooh.
The stats in general, I think Matt Martin has more points in his career so far.
He's played at 823 games.
And how much has
really?
700.
Holy moly! 800.
There you go. That actually makes up the difference of like, well, not that makes up the, but I mean they're apart by like what 30 points. So whatever.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Matt Martin is better in the playoffs, apparently. If I'm being honest, I'm only going to choose Ryan Reeves because, like, if we're just picking right now, because I think that I don't really care about their games in general in terms of, like, how they play hockey. I would say that Ryan Reeves is slightly more intimidating, and I would go for that.
Yeah,
Like,
you know what? I would agree that Ryan Reeves would be slightly
just
more
in terms of
intimidating.
like,
yeah,
if he's
Very-
on your team, you are much less like literally. They only got Ryan Reeves in New York so that Tom Wilson didn't beat up their entire team, because that was directly after that whole brawl thing that happened.
Yeah.
It was literally the next year. So yeah.
So
I guess he's basically a hitman.
what's the size difference between the two?
I think Matt Martin's actually bigger, like at least by a couple inches for sure.
They're both so 162, 225. That's Reeves, and Matt Martin's 6'3", 220. So it's 5 pounds and 1
They're
inch.
literally the same guy. I was literally gonna be like, if there's a decently significant size difference between the two, I'll choose the one.
I
That's
would
bigger,
say
but
so.
yeah.
The other thing that I'm gonna go kind of against myself is that I absolutely hate the Islanders, but in the playoffs they had that fourth line with Clutter, Buck, and Cizikas, and that was one of the best.
That thing does weirdly well, like consistent.
It was good for like a couple of years, and it was just like they were put on. It's kind of like with what Washington does with Dowd and Hathaway right now, where you have consistent fourth liners that you throw on like after either your team scores or your team gives up a goal, and they just bring energy either back to your team or they bring it for your team, like just to like amplify it a little bit. Because and the other thing is that when they were on the ice, it was pretty much that nothing was happening. It was like neither team would score, and that was like a plus. So I guess that's a good thing. But again, Matt Martin now is not the same as Matt Martin when that fourth line was a thing, because that was like a few years ago now. So just based on solely intimidation factor and the fact that Reeves was brought in to intimidate Tom Wilson, which Tom Wilson has beat him twice, by the way. I would say Ryan Reeves.
How about you, Evan?
I think it's close. Like you guys said, they're
Yeah,
close in
it's-
close in points, close in games played. Like
none of that
Uh,
matters realistically.
yeah, like I think it is a coin flip. I think I agree. Like I think Matt Martin probably plays more minutes. But I think Ryan Reeves gives you intimidation minutes. He's not necessarily out there to like kill time like maybe Matt Martin would. So I think Matt Martin may be a slightly better hockey player or more effective on that line specifically. But I think if I had one of them on my team specifically, I think if what you want is an enforcer, I think Ryan Reeves is the way I would lean, but I think Matt Martin could be more useful in the right circumstance, if that makes sense.
Yes, very right circumstances. Like if you had that fourth,
Kyle and
yeah,
Suzuki.
yeah, or even if you put Martin on the side of like where Dowd and Hathaway have a hole right now too, I think that would be a really good fourth line as well. It'd just be like,
Yeah, if you put Martin in on the Sens, I'd be fine with that. Because then we have Kelly and Kaslik. Kaslik is a big boy, and Kelly's like a little rocket shot out of a cannon. He's going and hitting everything, and he's
but I think
throwing
that's the
stuff.
thing because like Cizikas was really good defensively, and Clutterbuck had some sort of like offensive push.
Do you want to know what Kastelik's faceoff percentage is right now?
Not
It's over
very,
7%.
okay.
Over 70, and he's taken like 80 draws.
This is a one-on-one between Matt Martin and Ryan Reeves.
Yes. Mark Kastelik. All right, that's my answer.
Can I pick neither?
We can pick both.
Okay, let's see. Career ice time average 8:48 for Ryan Reeves, 10:53 for Matt Martin.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Career points 8.
114 and 761 for Reeves, 152 and 823 for Martin. So I mean, can just break even there. Penalty minutes 10:54 for Martin, 9:85 for Reeves.
This is actually bizarre that how close everything is.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Even strength goals 69 for Matt Martin,
Oh, okay, I'm going Matt Martin.
51 for
Okay.
Reeves, but that's also in that many more games.
Yeah.
And I also don't think either of them is playing power play. So realistically, that was not.
Anyone and why I picked him?
Yes.
Okay.
I just went Matt Martin
This
literally
is a
because,
family
yeah.
show. Okay. Hits 2,900 or 3,427
For who?
for Matt Martin,
Okay.
2,618 for Reeves.
Ooh.
I also do think that's because he plays less minutes.
But that's a big difference, though. Actually, that's the one category where it's a big difference.
One could argue though that hits take you away from the play,
Yeah.
and that means you're chasing the game more. Although his job solely
But
was
for
to
the
hit.
for their job, yeah, that's what I mean, right? For what they're brought on the team to do, I think Matt Martin.
I do think
yeah.
that was when the majority of that was when he was on that line for 3 years, and it was just your job is to hit everyone, and the other two are doing other things on the ice, but you just focus on this. Matt Martin also had a good relationship with. He has a good relationship with Mitch Marner.
Yes,
I've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Yeah,
Good family guy.
Yeah,
them pretty handsome.
Huh? For an enforcer.
Yeah, for enforcers, like a lot of them don't have teeth or hair or.
Realistic. It's kind of funny. Some of the biggest heavyweights in the NHL are all like decently attractive. Besides maybe like
now we're talking about attractiveness of the players.
Nick Delory. This is where you get to when we talk about enforcers.
We're talking about.
Mark Kastelik, his nickname is Jesus because he has a big beard and long hair.
And now the newest enforcer, that Wi-Fi guy.
Yeah,
he's not horrible looking either. It's just a whole slugfest of attractive enforcers.
Mark Borvicki.
Is he still in the NHL?
Yeah, he got structured off a couple games ago because.
So, not factual. He's not in the NHL right now.
He is on the LTI.
Anyways, yeah.
So we have. I don't even know what I voted for because I felt
Went
like
Reeves. You went Martin.
I went Martin.
You were leaning Reeves, and now I don't know.
so. It's 1-1.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You know what? For the first time in Unfortunate Diehards history, we're gonna call it a draw. 1.5 to 1.5 because we love them both equally because they're so.
I think that just shows how much I don't actually care about this.
This head to
I
head was
think-
too fast. It was too fast head to head.
I think they still have roles in the NHL, and I think they do really well at what they do, evidently. So, they would do things that I could never do, and I respect them for it.
Let's talk about what. Okay, let's keep it going with them. What team apart from what they're on right now do you think they would both could really be used on right now?
Like actual fits,
Like
Reeves
actual fits for Reeves and Martin right now.
on Edmonton.
Reeves on Edmonton.
Matt Martin on
Vancouver.
Matt Martin. Honestly, Matt Martin on Toronto actually is just a good fit.
It is a good
Like,
fit. Yeah.
Reeves, but also Reeves is also very much needed in New York after the whole Wilson thing. It's kind of just like a contingency plan at this point. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the thing. Like Sufi and I, we have players who are effective and can like throw their weight around and whatever needs necessary. But like you have, Austin Matthews is a big guy, but like
throwing a lot of hits this season actually so far.
He is.
Yeah.
Yes.
that's great. He hasn't scored. So I would say like someone like Matt Martin or Ryan Reeves is more effective on Toronto than either of our teams because I think like Wilson and Kachuk can fill that role if need be. I mean, we have like Watts in our cast like as well, like I said, but like I think you guys don't like Wayne Simmons isn't a heavyweight. Like he plays big,
Yeah.
but he's not Ryan Reeves or Matt Martin. Like he was at like 25-30 goal scorer at one point.
Kyle
Like,
Clifford is closer to those guys than he is.
yeah, but I would even say
black hole everyone else.
Yeah.
But like that's the same with Hathaway. I love Hathaway on our team because I'd hate him on every other team. But he's actually like effective and is also can hold his own in that regard as well.
Yeah.
That was the line that was actually out there in the whole New York debacle was Dowd, Hathaway, and freaking Carl Hagelin.
It's been 2 years since that debacle, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years.
It feels like it wasn't that long ago.
There's the pre Ryan Reeves era in New York, and there's the post Ryan Reeves era.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that was a good way to end the episode with two of the biggest heavyweights to end off a big. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You can check us out, like I said before, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. We thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you on episode number 11.